Hey guys, this is Patrick Rorman with MT Knives. Today I'm going to show you how I sharpen the Genesis neck knife. The sharpening unit I'm using is called the Professional Knife Sharpening System, and it can be found on my website. I've used this sharpener to sharpen hundreds and even thousands of knives. It's still going strong, and it's the original unit that I purchased years ago. The first step is going to be establishing the burr. And if you look closely, you'll see the burr begin to pop up on this next pass. Right there at the heel, you can see the burr pop up, and then right there at the tip. I'm going to work to get the burr consistent along the entire edge. This is an 80 grit belt that I'm starting with, and it's very important to use a sharp abrasive. I'll sharpen 7 knives on a belt, and then I'll get a fresh belt. Old belts create heat and they don't cut very efficiently. Now you can see the burr is established. I'm checking the tip to see that I have a nice sharp point on the tip. It still needs some work. It takes approximately 7 to 8 minutes to sharpen each knife. I will sharpen 7 knives at a time, and I will progress each knife through each grit and then change the belt and go to the next grit. This allows the knives to cool down in between each grit, making sure that the edge never gets too hot. Okay, now we're done with the 80 grit. We're going to move on to 120. You can see the belts change out quickly, and then I adjust the tracking, and I'm ready to go. Most of your work is on the 80 grit. With each progressing grit, we're just going to make sure that we're refining that burr and keeping it consistent. As you can see here, the burr is nice and consistent. I do about 3 to 4 passes, just to ensure that the burr is completely consistent, and the only scratches that are going to be on the edge are the 120 grit. That point is nice and sharp now. With the last couple passes, I'll use less pressure and just really make sure that that burr is as perfect as it can be. Be sure to wear some sort of dust mask or protection. If you're going to be sharpening a lot, even if you're not, the abrasives are there's a lot of dust that's created. The last thing you want is metal dust in your lungs. I've added that work light to this grinder, and it really helps to see that edge. Now we're going to move on to 220 grit. This will be the final grit. I need to clean my machine off as well. It's important to clean up the dust and blow off your machine occasionally to keep all that stuff out of the motor. The motor is a sealed unit, but it still helps to keep your workspace clean. I try to start the burr at the heel of the knife and steadily bring it out to the edge, to the tip. It takes some practice. You want to start on the edge of the belt, and then I finish about in the center of the belt. There's a graphite pad that's replaceable underneath the belt, and just like with a sharpening stone, you want to keep it flat. So after a few sharpenings, I moved the graphite pad to a new spot where it's flat. This unit makes sharpening knives consistent and quick. It has paid for itself time and time again. The final step is moving on to a felt belt, and we'll use some white buffing compound. What I'm looking for is that burr as I strop this knife. If you watch, you'll see if there's any glimmer, if there's any bit of sparkling on that edge, you'll see that burr pop up. We're just trying to remove the burr completely along the entire edge of the knife. Once again, it's about 3 or 4 passes. You can over-strop the knife. I strive for a somewhat toothy edge. It's going to perform a lot better cutting. I used to sharpen up to 400 grit, and I found that over time it just made the edge too slick, and it wasn't as practical for your everyday use of a knife. I find that stopping at 220 grit and then buffing really leaves a nice edge. Anyways, this is the process that I go through on every Genesis. I sharpen each one by hand and check the edge to make sure that it is tree topping sharp. Once again, this has been Patrick Rohrman with MT Knives. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe.